why all the time of pandemic, I stay with my clients and see a lot of things which are happening with them. Some of them are frightening, some of them are bringing hope for the best future. So today we are going to speak about that. You are welcome to ask the questions. I will be able to do a short break in the middle of my speech to answer the question. And also I will make the stop by answering the questions in the end of my speech. And now I am going to turn the screen to use some presentation for us to discuss, but I will return my face also to you because there are some emotions I want to share also. First of all, about the plan we are going to do today. I hope that we will talk about some facts of pandemic events, and we will discuss maybe some figures, because I hope you are interested in getting some analytics and perhaps in understanding if the things are going all over the world happened here in Russia. A little spoiler, yes, they did. We have nothing very special. After that, we will talk about some management observations, how companies survived. What did they try to do? And also the end and the aim of my presentation here today is about some lessons learned. I think it's the most interesting thing to discuss because, lessons learned make us to evaluate, to go further. And I hope we will do some of them. First, as I promised, some facts. We are going to discuss about some different groups of the goods and the services which showed us the very different behavior. As you noticed perhaps, and I think the thing like that happened in your cities and in your countries, there were a lot of things which are being sold online. They made great pluses. Here in the picture, you see the increase which was shown by different delivery services. We had some delivery of food and grocery and stuff like that here in Moscow. But as I heard from my clients and colleagues through the first months of this year, they showed, you see on the picture, 7th increase, 5 times increase, 3 times increase. So that's a great increase, and I'm sure a lot of cities and countries had also the story like that. Okay, people need food and people need entertainment. Bread and circuses need people. And if we see how the entertainment platform behaved, you also will see a very pragmatic and understandable picture. I guess all of you know Netflix. We also have Netflix, but we have also some local services, and you see that they also increase 2 times or something like that. That's the most big increase. If you will find some other things, you will also find some increase of online, but it won't be such a dramatic thing. The most interesting here, more interesting thing here is if we look for some increase and some demand, I called situative. So people didn't need these things so much before, but they started to need them because of all this pandemic environment. First of all, food. A lot of people bought some food to make storage in the house, and they eat this food still. A lot of medicine some pharmaceuticals, some tablets and pills, not just to take them, but to be prepared, because a lot of bad expectations had all of us. Some antibacterial stuff, some vitamins and supplements also to be prepared, and a lot of things to spend some time in houses without feeling very bad. You will see here some things to have good time with the kids, and some things, to continue sports, staying in the house, and some things to make crafts. Also, not to be very much depressed, because if person has nothing to do, it is depressed, and everybody understands that and tries to make good things for himself. And I know a lot of companies who understanding that these industries and these goods are required. They were small and they were average and they were also big. Understanding that there appeared demand for those things, they were very fast. We will talk a little bit later about being fast. They were fast and feeling the new kind of demand. They made their best to satisfy that demand and to make some supplies. They were successful in those things. Okay, if we talk about something which is decreasing, of course, all offline stuff and some luxury. If you don't know what future is coming, you are not buying luxury. And you don't buy cars if you are not sure that you can use them to go somewhere. And of course, real estate, travel, you understand that travel market in all countries. Well, I heard that our Russian figure is minus 96%. So we almost lost the travel market, and about 50 firms are not going to return, are not returned already, and are not going to return further, and all those things. So these industries, these areas showed some decrease, and I think this situation is not, as I told in the beginning, we don't have very unique situation. It's the situation you can find all over the world. It's the situation you will find in all big cities. Maybe not all of you know that Moscow is a very big city. So we have about 15 million inhabitants. It's metropolis, it's megapolis. And I know that in big cities all over the world, trend was like this. Okay. Let us talk not about facts, because facts, they can be rather simple. Let us talk about more interesting thing, about some observations on the behavior. Well, IT companies felt, well, I have some IT clients, and I have some clients from other industries, and I saw that ITs, digital companies, they were good, and others were in the mess. But is it only because of the infrastructure? I would tell you that no, it's the most expectable answer, but not very much. IT companies here in Moscow, I'm not sure it happens in your countries and your cities, but here in Moscow, I can say about that for sure. IT companies are better structured, better organized. There are a lot of younger people with the more modern managerial habits. They write shorter letters. They formulate their ideas better. they they have better problem solving skills, and they have sometimes better team leading skills. So it was not just because they have internet and all other people don't have internet. It was because their managerial team leadership and communication style, their style of doing things was better. And that was the reason why they were much easier adopted. Okay. A lot of people, a lot of companies had their remote infrastructure. But suddenly, then the remote was not just a brilliant idea for, well, okay, one day, then we are going to be very successful and the times will be very modern. We are going to go for remote. But you need to go for remote tomorrow. And then they were in such a situation, they understood that, okay, they have technical remote opportunities to make the remote technically, but they don't have opportunities to make remotes organizationally. As a business trainer, me personally, and a lot of my colleagues, I know about that, we had a very rough time, a very intensive and high time explaining managers how to make, meetings using the IT means for remote access, how to make meetings. And that was not just about pushing some buttons. That was about the organization of the meeting and how to make tasks and how to make some control. And that was not about Zoom or Skype or using email. That was about process approach. So I should say that this period show that some skills of managers and some knowledge of managerial practice of a lot of managers was very weak. And going to the remote style of making things, it showed that they have not very rich skills of making things. If you are sitting in the room just face to face, you don't see that so sharply and briefly. But if you are on the remote way of making business, you can notice that we are not just good managers, perhaps. One more observation, we'll switch it on again. Okay, there were a lot of conflicts between corporate security and continuity of the business. So I guess you know what I mean. Maybe you had the experience, such experience yourself. Corporate security always says, don't do it, it's dangerous. And to keep the business continuing, to keep deals and clients and logistics, if you keep the safety as your best priority, you can just stop and do nothing. It's the most safe way to help the business, no risks at all. And if you want to do something and also to give your clients the possibility to pay bills and to give your remote team employees the possibility to make their duties, you should send them some materials. And corporate security says you don't. So there were a lot of conflicts, and a lot of companies were not ready to solve this problem, and they lose their time. I remember that first 2 weeks of lockdown, or first 3 weeks of lockdown, well, they were very important because clients were building, constructing new habits. If you start to buy from somebody, you buy from him for next 6 weeks of the lockdown. But if the company doesn't come to you with its suggestion in the first week, you don't get this company in the range of your supplies. So 1 week for solving the conflict between security and commercial goals, and you are out of the client's view. He doesn't remember you exist, and that's not the good thing to do. Also about observation. There are the companies which remembered that their employees are also people, and people feel depressed, and people feel very sad, and they have very bad expectations, and they don't know if they are going to keep their jobs, and they don't know if they are going to be safe. And they don't know, is it the end of the world, or is something going to come back as we got used to? The style of life was destroyed. And there were companies which understood this problem and considered this problem to be a very important one. And their system of internal communications was working very rough too. They talked to people. They wrote some letters, not just about business and processes, but also some letters to keep the mood, to make some good feeling of being not alone in all this space and in all this difficult time. There were companies which had some help desk for depressed and some stress center for people which need some help, who need some help in the company. And some of them understood that that's about also the quality of the job. Other companies had their focus on doing things, and they made their style of management even tougher, because time is tough and you are to be tough, and please bring me that letter, and please bring me that figures, and why don't you sell, and why don't you do this? So not helping and supporting and trying to understand and make that connections stronger between management and the employees, but trying to make their employees to become the better instrument in this very difficult place. Okay, we will talk a little bit later. Was it successful or was not? And the last thing I want to say here, and I will make a short break to look for the questions. Perhaps I have some, and if you want to ask the questions and didn't write yet, you can do it. There was, of course, there were a lot of dismissals and terminations and stops and breakdowns, and a lot of people lost their jobs. The problem is that that very often companies did that, not understanding very much why they dismiss those people or other people. It was like, we have to fire about 20% or 30% or 50%. Whom are we going to fire? Well, maybe somebody who's younger, or maybe somebody who was the last to join us. Very often it was like blind dismissal. So let's just fire somebody. What if the competence and the skills he has, they are very important in this time? Not all the companies understood something about that, and that is going to come to my lessons learned also, and I will go to the third part of my presentation. Just will look for questions and answers if I have some. And I have also a poll here, perhaps has there been any government assistance for companies for wage? Well, Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And oh, perhaps you know that we in Russia have not very simple relationship between government and companies, and not always transparent, and not always not always those who should get that help. Not always they get this. But I should say one thing here. The support from government was very versatile, and a lot of different companies got that. I know that some companies close to the government got that, but I also know my friend. She has a small business in beauty. She has her salon, and it was closed, of course, and she also got some help. So I cannot say that it was unfair all the time. I know some small businesses, they got that, and it was rather simple. My also colleagues and friends told it's very simple. You have just to form one document, email something, and you will get. It was about $400, I think, $400 or $500. So it was not very big. It was a small one, but somebody got that. Okay, I will try another one. Out of interest, are you aware of any companies in Russia where executives took play cards in order to keep no, I don't remember. Maybe there was a case, but one maybe. I don't remember very public case of that. No, nothing about that. I guess somebody did that, but I don't know if somebody did. Know about some who didn't. Is there any research in Russia about the best work from home model, 2 days at the office and 3 days from home? Well, dear colleagues, asking questions about Russia, you should understand that Russia is very different. We have one model of society in the big cities, and we have another model of society and of business and of relationship between company and government in cities which are smaller and in small cities. I know that in Moscow there is the research. We have a headhunter company. It's the name, Headhunter, and they provide the market with the best human resource analytics. And they also wrote a lot about this model. And I know a lot of companies here in Moscow, not in Russia, but in Moscow, there are a lot of companies already. They're modern, they're progressive, mostly digital in some parts or in general, which are exploiting this model. They do work 2 days in the office, 3 days from the home. But I think it's only true for Moscow and St. Petersburg, perhaps. All over the Russia, it seems to be very new and very dangerous. And well, these models require a good management. They don't have management such good, such progressive to make this model work. They just think, they will not work at home. They will do a lot of stuff not working. Okay, Russia reportedly has vaccine. What impact has that had on Russian business environment? I don't see any impact yet, because, once again, I should repeat that we have very a complicated relationship between society and government, business and government, and it's complicated and it's not always very trustful. So we reported that we have vaccine. It's still on probation. So perhaps it means for business that for people it will be it will make some more complexity, because it means if we have vaccine, it could be obligatory. So all the employees can be vaccinated for business get permission to work. So we have very vague expectations now. We don't know what is going to be like, if it make things better or if it make things worse. It can be both. No clear impact now, just vague expectations, also for good and for bad. Okay. Why do you think the lack of managerial skills were pronounced, and were you surprised by this? Me personally was not, because I'm business consultant, I'm business trainer, I see. But I know also it's very hard to persuade companies that, well, your skills are not good. Of course, I don't say it like that, but they think that skills are okay, but the problem is in infrastructure or something. But with all this situation, they had a very, it was very visible. They understood themselves that maybe there is something not good with the skills. Dear colleagues, I have to return to my presentation because I have I have very important part. I have the part about lessons learned. And I think that there can be some answers. And I will have some time to return here and to answer the questions again. So I will make the screens okay. Go back to my presentation and to the questions again a little bit later. So that was about observations. What about lessons? The first lesson is about market and about clients' behavior. I think that almost everybody today already understands that we are going to deal with very pessimistic consumer. Maybe you know, maybe you heard that here in Russia, well, these are different stories. It's one story that when you have everything very good in economics, shining, brilliant, and COVID comes, crisis comes, and everything is becoming worse. One story. But there is another story when you have a recession. The things are going bad already. They are not going good. They are going bad, worse or better, but still it's chronicle situation. It goes to bed. And then crisis comes. So it's not the story like my first story. And I remember that story about pessimistic consumers. We on the conferences and business events, everybody talked about consumer being pessimistic for the long time before. 18 maybe, 19 maybe. What does it mean? Poor consumer is not equal to poor consumer sometimes, because pessimistic poor consumer is much worse than optimistic poor consumer, and it can be. But if I will bring it back. But if a consumer is not very rich and also pessimistic, he expects nothing good. He stops buy stuff at all with the okay, not having the discount, not having some special price. And if you want to stay in the market for the company, to stay means to make best price, to reduce costs, to give best buys, because everybody well is getting his best buy or nothing. And best price for the best buy is not play to win now. You know, there can be play to win, and there can be play to stay. And before, to give best buy means to become more successful. But now to provide their consumer with the best buys means just to stay on the market. And well, it's complicated, but still like this. Okay, the second. Because the second is the platform for making the first one. You can provide your consumer with the best buys if you have best costs. But to get good costs, you have to make good management. And you cannot make good management if you don't make it transparent. I think, and it's also about the question you asked me, why about the skills? Why didn't they notice that before? It's about the lack of transparency. They were not transparent, and they don't understand that, didn't understand that like a big problem. But being forced to make fast, being forced to make good decisions fast, and to reduce cost dramatically. They understood that they don't have enough transparency to make the decisions, the transparency of processes. Can I make this thing? It was for 5 days, and now the market changed, and I have to make that for 2 days. Can I or cannot? And a lot of companies understood that. They answered, well, I don't know, maybe I can and maybe I cannot, I should study. But keeping it transparent is the only way for companies to bring good solutions. And you should keep transparency of organizational structure to know whom to fire also, and you should keep the transparency of project or of product cycle, the transparency of duties, and the transparency of data. Well, Russian companies are crazy about data. I mean, progressive companies, like everybody in the progressive business world. They collect data, and they spend their time to talk about data and to work with the data. But do they use them? Do they make, do they keep them right? Do they organize that data? And they understood that being busy with data a lot, they don't have very transparent model of using their data. So I think I made here very dramatical gestures and just understood you didn't see them now. Well, really, transparency means manageability very often. And it was a very expensive lesson. And I think for some companies, this lesson became much more obvious. The third one, I have 5 here. The third one, being transparent is the platform for staying lean, for being lean. And you know what was my grief, my sorrow as a business consultant, as a business an elitist. I understood that some people which were fired during the crisis, during the pandemic time, during lockdown, they were people which, okay, they should be fired. So it's not like he was a good employee, but the evil crisis came and he's fired. No, they were not very good before. But the company who had some, they had some resources and they thought they have some time. And that's why they said, okay, it's not very easy decision to fire him and we don't like that. Let's wait, let's pay salary, we have money, we can pay some salary. And when the crisis came, well, you know, perhaps it's about some sanitary meaning of the crisis, because it makes company to make the decisions which that should be made before. And being lean in the processes, in the peoples, in the, okay, all the material stuff, keeping companies in a good physical forms, like person. If I'm lean, I can do something, I can jump and I can run. And if I'm not, it's harder for me. And I think that companies also understood that for them, being lean, that they can be fast. But if they are not, well, it's just like motivation speech, be fast. Being lean means being fast, being adaptive, using the opportunities. Okay, the fourth one from 5, and I will go to the questions. Russian companies, of course, I'm talking about the best of them, the biggest, the progressive, because as I said already, they are not equal, they are very different. But those who deal with innovation understood once again and understood that very, not in theory, but got that deep understanding in practice. You cannot make one innovation a year. You should develop new channels all the time. You should develop new products. You should make it fast. Fast fails, fast move-ons. That's the only play to win. You remember I said about play to stay, to give best buys, but innovation all the time, like conveyor, it's the place to win. It can be the play to win. And the last one. I like very much one phrase as a professor, as a business trainer. I use it very often. You see it here. We don't rise to the level of our expectation in the critical situation. We ran to the level, we fail to the level of our training. I don't know exactly who said that, because I saw in the internet 2 versions, like Marine Corpse or Greek poet, ancient. I haven't met, not them, not him. But well, it doesn't matter, because I think it's really a very big one, and it can be said both by Marines or by poets. And that's perhaps the most important thing for us to understand, and the most summarizing lesson. Those lessons I've told you here, they are not very unique also. They seem to be rather universal. And I wanted to say you one thing here. To be well trained means to be prepared for Covid-19. You don't need to be prepared for that, because it came already. You are prepared already, you know about that. To be well trained in communications, leading skills, using IT infrastructure, launching new products, to be well trained in this means to be prepared for Mirma Diver 705. You can ask me, what is it, Mirma Diver? I don't know. You don't know, neither do I. Nobody does. It can be biological, it can be technical, it can come from space or something. But my message here is that something will come. And it's the world, it's always coming. And you cannot be prepared very much because you never know what is it like. But those lessons I have been talking today, they make the good base to be very adaptive for everything, and to do your best for meeting any disease or crisis or something like that. And perhaps it's the last thing I have to say here, and I'm ready to answer some more questions. I guess I have several minutes, well, but also two short things to tell. We understand, just a minute, I will stop and check my time. Well, 3 minutes, okay, I will do it very fast, but still it's rather important. You understand that it's normal for companies and for business people first to feel denial and frustration. Okay, the acceptance will come. I hope, I felt it myself, hope you did that too. But the most important thing here is that integration in the new business platform should come. I hope all the companies I helped did that or will do that, and I hope your companies will too. And the last thing to say here, you know, there is a very important, a very significant model. I guess you have heard about that, and if not, please get acquainted to that. It's called Martek's Law, and it says, our world is full of technological innovations, technological changes. They come fast and there are a lot of them. Medicines, vaccines, space shuttles, new kinds of transport and all that stuff, they will support us. That's okay. But the organizations, they are our weak point today. They are changing not so fast. It's about skills, it's about structures, it's about style of communication and management. And if technology changes fast and organization change slowly, the total result you get is not a good one. So please don't focus on technologies, focus on organizations, and that will be your way to become better prepared. Thank you very much. I will go and see some questions, and please be safe. Please take a good care of yourself and your companies and your families. I hope you will manage to do that, the most important thing. Okay, go and see some more questions. Why Russia still continues to invest? Increase of support in high-tech companies. Oh, well, such a complicated question. Well, I don't know even how to answer that briefly. I think it's not about economics. I think it's about politics. Well, and about, it's about a very complicated relationship with companies and government. We don't know what's coming further. To invest to technological industries, you should be sure you are making a long play. I don't know if somebody does that. That this time that a centralized country can the same be in Russia for short time. In short terms, yes, but in long terms, it's the problem. The previous question was for development, not very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for the thank you. Okay, 1 second. Thank you.